Welcome to Dubs Talk. I am Dalton Johnson, joined as always by our Warriors insider Monte, Poole. And Warriors fans, remember to visit Mancini's Sleep World. Save up to $1,200 on cooling mattresses at the Mancini Sleep World 4th of July sales. That's right, save up to $1,200 with Beauty Sleep Queen mattresses starting in just $299. Monty, we can use some sleep right now as we're in the wait-and-see game in Warriors free agency, with the LeBron James decision, of course, kind of holding everything up right now when it comes to Warriors world. But we do have a little bit of news where it seems like the days of Quinten Post are done in a Warriors jersey. The restricted free agents has signed a 3-year, $30 million offer sheet from the Memphis Grizzlies. You know, it's one of those contracts that has a lot of incentives in it. I believe only $9 million is guaranteed. Some of the incentives make it even harder for the Warriors to match. But Monty, we always figured that there was a strong chance that Quinten Post was not going to be back with the Warriors. And I believe that we could say, as we record this, just a few hours before the deadline, before the Warriors have the ability to match, that it seems like Quinten Post will not be returning to the Warriors.
No, I think it's safe to say that. I mean, as of right now, you know, you've got Kristaps coming back, you got Al coming back, and there'll be a third center. You know, the people that I talked to over the past few days, you know, they brought in Graham Ike, you know, they brought in
talk about him.
Olbrich. So they brought a couple of guys from Summer League, but from the people I've talked to the last few days, it seems like neither of those guys are ready to leapfrog Charles Bassey. So Bassey still seems to have the edge on being the third center on this roster. And obviously he's very different from both Kristaps and also Al. Those guys can go outside and shoot. That's not what he does. Bassey's a dirty work guy. You know, he gets in the paint and disrupts things and good screen setter. I keep saying it. He's like a more athletic Kamon Looney. You know, that's what he does.
Yeah.
So, and it sounds like, you know, they brought in Ike and Olbrich to see, you know, what they have to offer, and maybe some G League activity for one of those guys or something. So we'll see. But the thing about QP is that they drafted him based on one skill. He can shoot the three. And they were so desperate for a stretch five to where he's available late in the second round. Why not? And I would say he was worth it. He was worth it. I mean, obviously an imperfect player, but he made some big shots here and there. His defense obviously wasn't NBA level, but again, his one skill is why he's here. And it's one of the reasons why the Grizzlies, I'm sure, thought, you know what? We could use a big who can go out there and spread the floor a little bit. And he did that for the Warriors. He did that he'll do that for the Grizzlies. Because, I don't see the Warriors just matching that kind of money. Just before you even get to all of the other details within the contract, I think they're more likely to let him walk. In fact, I don't see a path where they would say, let's match that. Because where's he going to be? You're going to pay that much to your third or fourth string center?
No.
Not going to happen. So,
yeah,
but,
I mean,
you know, good for QP, though. I mean,
yes.
He made his way in the league, and there were a lot of doubters. There's still some doubters, but again, when you have one skill and that's your skill, you can get a job in the NBA.
Especially at that height, right? I mean, he's a true 7-footer. He really is. And unfortunately for QP, that shot fell off a little bit last year, right? I mean, as a rookie, when he came in from Santa Cruz, he was the most accurate three-point shooter. I mean, he was higher than Steph Curry. And then last year, it just was not as consistent. And some of his defensive issues, you know, they only hurt more when he's not making three-pointers. So good for QP to go get his money to make a career out of being a very late second-round draft pick, someone who was an older prospect as well too. So good for QP. That's the latest Warriors news. But Monty, as we know, the wait on the decision. What is this? The decision 2.0, 3.0, 4.0, whatever we want to call it for LeBron right now. It's a waiting game right now. I mean, it is. We're recording this July 7th. You're in Tahoe for the Celebrity Golf Tournament. I'm gonna be in Vegas and Summer League here soon, and I'm going. Okay, he stretched this out to July 11th in the past. is this going to go farther even later this time? Am I going to be in summer league and he still hasn't made his mind up? Are you feeling like this is going to stretch as far as the wait and see game?
I have no idea. And I say that because at first I thought,
I appreciate you saying it.
yeah, I thought he would make his decision last week.
Yeah.
And I did hear he's going to take his time. But I will say this, the longer he waits, to me at least, the longer he waits, I think the less likely it is he comes to the Warriors.
Yeah.
I think he already knows what the Warriors have to offer. He knows what they're about. He's played them in finals games. He knows their system. He knows what he can do. Obviously, Steph and Draymond are two guys that he has a lot of respect for, and it's mutual. But I don't think this is a case where you have to like check in and see what the Warriors have and who are they and what do they do. Whereas with some of the other teams that are, lining up now, because once he made the announcement, man, it was a rush. There were a bunch of teams that, whoa, okay, he's not going back to LA because most people thought he was, including me. Thought he's going back to LA. And now it's like, oh, he's on the market. And so you got a bunch of teams lining up. The Denvers, the Minnesotas, the Miamis. I mean, obviously Cleveland, but it just seems to me that I suspect he already may know where he's going to go, but is not ready to commit publicly. And I would be, at this point, I'd be surprised if it's not the Cavaliers, because so many things line up, in terms of, the poetry of it all. Him going back to Cleveland where he started, 40 miles down the road from where he grew up. He spent a lot of time in Ohio, which he always does in the offseason. He does it all the time. But I don't think Cleveland they have some things to do. And I don't know how the fit with LeBron, Donovan Mitchell, and James Harden. I mean, LeBron looks forward to the postseason. And I mean, he'll be looking at James Harden the way he looked at J.R. Smith that time against the Warriors. Like, there'll be times when he's looking at James like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And so I don't know that it's fixed, but so much of it, I mean, there's supposedly going to be a documentary and it's going to follow him, for most of the season. So that does sound like it could swing towards the Cavaliers, but we'll see.
Yeah, I think that the Cavaliers always made the most sense. I mean, you painted the picture right there. Like the poetry of it, the storytelling of it, the documentary of it, it makes sense. And I think that there would be no reason for anyone to be mad at him for going back to Cleveland, for going back home, right? I mean, it seems like a win-win decision for him. I don't love the basketball fit as far as it is with James Harden and Donovan Mitchell. You're really asking him to play a lot more off the ball, and I don't think he loved that too much in LA when Luka was, being Luka ball, and became Luka's team. Even if he goes back to Cleveland and it's like, well, James is there and Donovan's there, it's LeBron. It still would be LeBron's team. It's Cleveland. It's the Cavs. Like, that is much different, right? But I think when it comes to the Warriors, and I want to talk about the Warriors fan base, when it comes to that, I don't think that they would be that. I don't think that they would be mad. Oh, well, we didn't get LeBron. We thought we was going to get him for sure. I don't think they'd be mad at LeBron. I think the frustration right now is seeing, okay, LeBron went somewhere else. Okay, Giannis went to the Heat. Okay, Kawhi went back to Toronto, and it just feels like right now, offseason after offseason after offseason of being tied to these guys, and then the star just dims. Whether it is, oh yeah, we're going to sell you on Lauri Markkanen and Paul George, whether it's the Giannis chase, now it's LeBron. Kawhi gets talked about a little bit. Obviously, they weren't in the Jaylen Brown situation because, look, the Boston Celtics were not going to take an injured Jimmy Butler. That's my read on it. I don't think that was going to be a thing at all.
Right.
But I think that they see that the holding onto the draft picks plus the movement of other stars in the landing spot not being Golden State, that to me is the frustration right now, Monte.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. The front office is taking a shellacking. And you know what? They kind of invited this, and I keep saying it goes back to 2020. They drafted James Wiseman, and then they followed up in 2021. They brought in Kuminga and Moody, and the best they got out of that is a rotation player in Moody. That's the best they got out of it. And so I think their approach was misguided in the sense that they went for projects at a time when Steph was in his prime. And there were players who might have been able to give him something, not in 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 years, but maybe even as rookies, and certainly by year 2 or 3. And we know who some of those players are, and the Warriors are actually, angling to try to get one of those guys in New Orleans. So you look around, and I understand the frustration because you're right. They have not made every move that they've made that really moved the needle for them since Jerry and Jerry West left has been through a trade at the deadline.
And the Jimmy Butler trade was an easy trade. That was a no-risk trade. You gave away one draft pick that was the number 20 pick. That was pretty much a no-risk trade in yes. my eyes, at least, Monte.
No, I agree. And so you look at that in the Wiggins trade. I thought the Warriors fleeced the Timberwolves, but of course, at the time, Wiggins was, he was buy low, and so Wiggins comes in and they win a championship a year and a half or whatever it was later, and he is like balling in the finals. And so, again, as a trade deadline move, their off seasons have been pretty nondescript for the most part. I mean, I would say the 21 off season was successful because they brought in guys and it worked. They brought back Iguodala. They brought in GP2. They brought in Otto Porter Jr., Nemanja Bjelica. So, and it worked. It worked. On paper, you're thinking, maybe it's okay. This could work. Otto's never healthy, and Nemanja's going to get some time, and he can shoot the 3 from as a 5. But it all worked out. It worked, and that team. I will say they overachieved, and I think they would say that too if they're being totally honest. But that was their best. That was their most productive offseason in terms of what it did for the roster. And for the most part, their offseason, the Chris Paul thing was like, what do we do? What are we really doing here? And it just hasn't been, we need to go back to the JaMychal Greens and those guys. There were situations that were in play, but yeah, they really could use a strong offseason statement, and they haven't made one in a while. And so, and the fans are looking at this like, is this going to be the same old thing? Yes. And right now, it looks very possible but I will say, as a basketball fit, the Warriors are better fit for LeBron than the Cavaliers.
I agree. I think the two best fits might be the Heat and the Warriors. Like, I think that the Heat are a great fit for him because the ball would be in his hands. You have the defense around him with Giannis and with Bam, and we know what the basketball fit would be with the Warriors, with Steph in Steve Kerr's system. It was it was beautiful basketball. It was in the Olympics. It was two geniuses just going to work. So it was amazing to watch. So I think that yes, the Cavs aren't the perfect basketball fit, but there's a lot of reasons why you can still see him going back home. But again, as we wait and see, there's some animosity, and I think so that the patience is running very thin when it comes to the fan base, and that'll be a tough sell if it is just a cut and dry run it back right now. That will be a tough sell after a 37-win season, and then giving patience for Jimmy Butler, for Moses Moody. It's hard to sell optionality and to sell good contracts, right? And say, well, we did this with KP's contract, and Melton was actually a good deal. And I can agree with all those things. I wrote about that the positives outweigh the negatives when it comes to Melton. And yeah, that was a good contract when it came to Kristaps Porzingis. It's not selling that when you have a 38-year-old Steph Curry still being Steph Curry when he's healthy, and the rest of the league is having the activity that they're having to create championship contending teams, especially when you just saw like a New York Knicks team be completely made from trades and from signings and from going for it and saying, no, we're going to go for it. Doesn't mean that the Warriors haven't tried to go for it, in instances in the past. But I think that, again, it's hard to sell those points, and the patience is running out. And so I think we have to keep staying patient when it comes to LeBron James's decision, though. And that's going to be tough right now, Monty. I don't like this wait and see game. It's enough for me. I just give me the answer.
Yeah, and the thing is, the Knicks reached a point where they say, you know what, screw those picks.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
We got to meet some players, and the Warriors right now are, picks are on the table, but so far they're still on the table. They're sitting there, and yes, were there trades that they could have made in previous off seasons, and could have and should have probably made? Yes, but now they're at 38, and they're waiting for a 42-year-old, 41-year-old to see what he does. And the fallback option is looking like DeMar DeRozan. And,
no.
I think DeMar comes with pros and cons. DeMar, the one thing DeMar can do, even now, two things he can do. He's available. Yeah. He's not a guy who misses games. He's available. He can play 75, 80 games and without breaking a sweat, I think. He's in that kind of condition. And the other thing is that he has a way of getting to his spots and getting to his shot. Mm-hmm. And he's a tough guy to guard, which the Warriors could use guys like that. But he is 35, 36 years old.
Yeah, of course.
And on the Warriors roster, that's not overly, that's not whoa.
It's like a rookie.
Yeah, that's like that kind of fits in. So I mean, if he's the best that's available for them, I could understand the move. I wouldn't love it, but I would understand it. But I think to get a player that would excite people would require getting off of some of those picks.
Yes, so
until they do, it's kind of like, okay, who are we? What are we doing here? And that's where they are right now.
Yeah, and look, a lot of people talk about the draft picks, and we've both mentioned them multiple times, and especially with the draft lottery reform, I think it's interesting the way certain teams are handling the picks, and yes, teams that are more in the Warrior situation, the 10 seed, they can go, well, we can be okay and have a real chance of getting a top pick. Well, number one, the next two drafts are not what this draft just was. They have a little bit of high-end talent, but they are not as deep. It is not as good. And then you have the Stepien rule where it wouldn't be mortgaging the future in my eyes. If you want it to only be two picks, we're just going to use a name like Trey Murphy, and it needs to get to 3. It's not mortgaging the future in my eyes. The next two drafts are not that good. And then you bet on yourself if you do one of these picks in the 2030s, if you do a 2031 or something like that, and you go, hey, you know what? We're going to bet on ourselves and say that this guy who's 26 and has star qualities is going to keep ascending, and that Yaxel is going to keep ascending. In the next few years, Steph is going to be Steph, and maybe that entices a LeBron. The draft, to me, can be overthinking as far as looking towards the future when it comes to that. I'm all on board when it comes to trading draft picks, and that's just my eyes, at least, Monte.
No, I'm with you, because the draft required a lot of luck, a lot of let's just say outstanding talent evaluation, and the Warriors haven't had that kind of luck. And their talent evaluation in terms of bringing guys in is questionable. If there were some redrafts, there would be some guys that the Warriors could have had and would like to have. Well, Trey Murphy's an example, but
sure is.
Yeah, and so I just think that if you're a fan and you've seen the Warriors' recent draft history, you're like, they're saving all these picks for what?
Right.
Oh, I get it. They think Steph's when he's gone, they're gonna tank, but will tanking really pay off? You know what I mean? And so it's not like before when teams would tank for 2, 3, and 4 years, and then voila, they get a franchise player in the draft. It's gonna be more difficult to do that. And so, which is why as we turn to Summer League, Yaxel Lendeborg looks like a keeper.
Yes.
Now, I don't know. Again, we don't get carried away with the Summer League, but one thing about Summer League that you can kind of take away is that you can watch a Summer League game, and you can tell when one guy is better than the other 9 guys on the floor.
Oh, he sure was.
And that's him. I mean, he's out there with guys, and some of these guys have had some NBA minutes and experience, and he's the best guy on the floor when I watch the games that I've seen at the California Classic. So I don't want to say, oh man, he's going to be a star, but I can say right now that he's rotation worthy already. And with the gifts he has, he's not going to shoot 78% from three. I mean, come on, and it's like, wait a minute now, slow down. He'll come back to earth. But even when you look at him, it's not just the shooting. It's the other
that's
stuff.
the thing.
It's like he's a 5-tool player. I mean, he can shoot it, he can pass it, he can rebound it, he can defend it, and he can feel the game, which on the Warriors is a huge asset.
Oh, he sure can. And Monte, I think that you just nailed that nailed the hammer with the nail on the head. There it goes. Eventually, I was going to get there. I knew it. Give me a little patience there. But when it comes to Yaxel Lendeborg, he is that 5-tool player. He checks so many boxes, and he's big, man. Like, that is an NBA body. Like, that is an NBA frame. And I was at the first game where he goes perfect from the field. I think it was 6 of 6 from the field, 4 of 4 from 3. But it was the other 2 ways he scored 2. The bully ball, where he's just body checking, and just goes through. And he has such good body control in the air where he can bounce a body off of him, and then in the air control it where he can score at different angles. And it's really impressive. Like, and what I loved most is that I'm at the first game where he goes perfect from the field. You're at the next game where in the first half he's scoreless. And I think he's 0 or 5.
Just 4 shots in a row.
Yeah, 4 shots in a row. Couldn't find anything. But you know what? Still in the first half, he still had 4 rebounds. He blocked 2 shots, like back to back. Really, really, really good weak side like shot blocker.
Yeah.
And then in the second half, he goes, all right, now I'm going to find my shot. This isn't going to deter me. He goes 3 of 4 from 3-point range, 4 of 7 from the field. He was still led his team in plus minus even in the first half when he was scoreless. That's where I'm going. Oh, like this guy should play 25 minutes a night. He should play 25 minutes a night as a rookie. He is definitely ready. I think he's going to have nights where you're going to go, oh, this could be a 6'9" Josh Hart. He's going to do a little bit of everything, even if he's not shooting the ball great that night. And then there's going to be other nights where you're going, oh, the shot's on tonight. Here we go. Like, he's going to be able to shoot 37% from 3-point range like he did at Michigan. Like, the upside is still there, I believe, but the floor makes him a ready-made player today.
Yeah, I mean, I think he'll end up in the high 30s from shooting 3 in terms of 3.
Me too. I like
which you take that 37, 38%, which is like half of what he did in summer league. But come on, summer league is summer league, and it's 2 games.
He was 7 of 9 from 3.
Yeah,
it's not that happen always.
I mean, come on, that's ridiculous. And so, he may have set the bar too high because some people go, "Oh, look at that." No,
right.
Let's be realistic here and dial it back some on that. But when you look at him, I think, you already know that he can play at this league, and the people over there, they so far they're happy is an understatement.
They love it. They love him. They love him. Yeah, like on the court, off the court, he's so much fun too. Like, he didn't play in the last game. I was there. He's dancing in between. They're playing music. He's in the huddle talking to everybody. Like, he's lively. He's gonna fit an NBA locker room. He checks what they wanted so badly and what they needed right now from the draft.
He's so old though. He's 23.
Oh God, yeah.
Can you believe that? They still keep saying that.
Oh my God, get over it. Get over it.
There's a lot of 23-year-olds who are in the NBA who don't have. There's 28-year-olds who don't have half his skill set.
And you talk about the feel. You talk about the feel, Monte. There was a time in that first game, LJ Cryer passes it to him. No, he passes it to LJ. LJ passes it right back, and he's like, no, and gets it right back in his hands, points at the 3-point line, and says, shoot it. Yeah. LJ makes a 3. And I was like, oh, he's just seeing things. And the way he was able to push the ball in transition with that size, like he really has a feel for the game for someone who is not an AAU player from the time he was 7 up. That's not him. And that's where you're going, get over the age. There is definitely still upside and potential there. And if he's a guy that winds up doing what he did in college and being 16, 7 and 6 every night, you're going to take that too. That's pretty good. If he's what he was at Michigan for the Warriors, they'll take that every single day.
No, I just think that, he and watching the way he moves around the court,
Mm-hmm.
I was telling somebody, I told this person, I said, now don't get this twisted. What I'm saying is his move around, the way he moves around the court reminds me of Jason Tatum.
Ooh.
I say that just because watching him run a court, just kind of the way he feels the game out, and that's what I thought about. I'm watching. It's like he moves around like Tatum does. Now I'm not saying he's going to be Jason Tatum. Timeout. I'm not saying that.
I get it.
But I'm saying that when you watch, in terms of summer league, he could be the summer league's Jason Tatum.
For sure. For sure.
That's very possible. But just watching him on both ends and the way he's moving around, and that's what I thought about, because Jason Tatum is not a super athlete. He's a good athlete. Yaxel's not a super athlete. He's a good athlete.
Yeah, he's a strong athlete.
Yeah. And he has that. He's stronger than Jason is. And so I think there's reason to be happy that for the fan base, for the Warriors and all. So, but I still think now we got to, it just hit me. We may have mentioned this before, but Pat Spencer.
I talked about the news with Quinten Post. How can I forget Pat Spencer news too? Oh,
no,
that's
Pat Spencer
pouring one out for a real one.
And Pat, Pat brought some juice.
Sure did.
And they couldn't miss him in certain instances, because what Pat did, and at times, he overdid it. But what he did was, when he came into the game, he was pretty good at making the offense, getting the team into the offense and making something happen good. Sometimes he got a little carried away and wanted to do it himself, but he was pretty good at getting the team into the offense, at least into a position where they could find decent looks and where the ball moved. And so there were times when the ball stuck with him, but when he didn't do that, that's something that I think the Warriors. Well, I think there's a void. There's an opening there for that type of player, which is what I wrote about Chance McMillan.
Yes.
So I think watching him, as I was watching him on Sunday, I'm thinking, the Pat Spencer void may not be a gigantic void, but if you want somebody who can, maybe Pat came in on a two-way and got upgraded later on. And I would think that Chance has a chance to fight for a two-way spot on this roster based on what I saw last season at Santa Cruz and what I've seen this season. And they liked him in Santa Cruz last year. And so watching him in the summer league, you saw a guy that, again, he kind of has a good feel for the game. And I thought, okay, he did some, he shot 6 threes and made 4 of them. But I think the thing that made me go, whoa, wait a minute, was he got his own shot. He got into his bag on one possession, and he got a great shot out of it. How many guys on the Warriors can do that? Even in summer league, can do that, can use their handle and their shiftiness to get an easy bucket. It's hard. And so, I'm not saying he's going to be in the rotation or even maybe not even make the team. But what I'm saying is that I like his tools as a guy who can kind of fit into that slot that Pat opened the season with last year as a two-way guy.
I like the fact that he can play on and off the ball too. I think that he has the handles, he has the juice, as you mentioned, to get to his spot and create his own offense. But he's a good enough shooter to be off the ball too. And he brought up the feel for the game. And when he was in college, he wasn't really an assist guy. He wasn't really a passer. He had a lot on his shoulders to be a scorer. And I think he had averaged like an assist a game, like a little bit, like a 1 point something.
Yes.
And then last year at Santa Cruz, I think he averaged like 5 assists or a little over 5. And so it's going, okay, like you can see the progression, you can see the development where this guy can be a combo guard, an older, what is he, 25, something like that. So he still 25. Has plenty in the tank, but he's not one of these 20, 21-year-olds. So he's someone to definitely keep your eye on as someone who's not just a really good local Bay Area story, but someone who can definitely knock on the door and make some noise. I think about him pushing for a two-way. I think about somebody like LJ Cryer, who is on a two-way right now and could be knocking on the door for a vet minimum or still be on that two-way. If LJ had Chance's height, and Chance isn't the tallest, but I think Chance is more like 6'3", that makes a big difference. Yeah, six, if he's 6'4", especially LJ, I mean, LJ would do a lot of things to be 6'4". Please give me some boost in my shoes to make me 6'4", because he's listed at 6 feet, and that's generous. That's very generous, but LJ can shoot it, man. Like, LJ can shoot it. He does have that tenacity from coming from Houston with Kelvin Sampson. That he has a lot of fans in the building, no doubt about that. So it'll be interesting to see if he stays on that two-way, if he has a chance to compete maybe for a vet minimum also. I want to talk about a little bit about Lajae Jones, the second-round draft pick, who didn't have as good a showing as Yaxel Lendeborg, which of course we understood in first round, second round. And even you and Monte talked about it, after the draft, that this is going to be a guy that's going to be more of a Santa Cruz guy. I think Lajae Jones, he had a longer path in college too, but he's someone who needs some more seasoning in Santa Cruz. To me, he was more aggressive in the last game when he didn't have Yaxel on the floor, Will Richard, LJ, all those guys.
Yep.
And he's a smart player. He had a strong 6'7" wingspan. There was a time in the second quarter where 3 different times he tries to kind of cut to the basket, gets blocked the first time, misses the second time, third time he just uses his shoulders and he gets up. Not fancy, just get there. Good pass from Lachlan Olbrich too. I like him. He seems a little too passive to me right now. He's a little passive as far as kind of finding his spots on the floor. Where exactly do I belong right here? So I just think maybe if he gets more time to kind of be that guy in Santa Cruz, that will do him a lot of favors. So he's someone that will need a little more seasoning, at least in my eyes right now, Monte.
No, I agree. I think that in watching him in the Cali Classic, it looked like a guy who is kind of feeling his way, which is okay, I guess. I mean, this is all new to him. I mean, Yaxel came in like he belongs.
Yeah.
But it looks like Lajae is like, okay, let me try to figure out how to navigate this. And that could account for him being sort of passive, which I agree with you on that, So we'll see. I think, based on what Mike said and what we've seen early so far, I could see this taking a little while. I think they're going to get him in Santa Cruz and probably spend a lot of time down there, get him where they want to get him to. Now, you mentioned another guy that I thought I liked, and that's Will Richard.
Yes.
Obviously last year, he, second round pick who, at times was in the rotation, started some games, got a 30-point game in there, So Will looked, again, he's playing with guys now that are summer league guys, but his shot looked better.
Yeah.
His shot looked a little quicker, which I thought, I mean, it's still kind of an awkward looking shot, but
it's pushy though to me, a little bit less pushy. Like, you know what I mean? Like a little more fluid, a little more. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's gotten better. And then, he goes out there, and his defense looks better. But again,
he's picking pockets.
It's summer league. But he looks, I like what he showed in the Cali Classic. Those 5 steals, again, picking guys' pockets. So he's got a place on this team. I mean, and he's got a place in this league if the Warriors decide not to keep him over the next year or month or week or two or whatever it is. He's got a place in this league because he gives you something on both ends.
Oh, yeah, no, he just looks so much more free, so much more confident. Like, it's clear he hit the rookie wall last year, and now he's using that experience on his side. He talked about how he just wants to be in the weight room, get stronger, be able to withstand a full NBA season. And the 2 guys I want to wrap it up with, Monte, because you mentioned them earlier, are the 2 big men. Graham Ike, who the Warriors, he went undrafted out of Gonzaga this year. They immediately signed him to an Exhibit 10 contract. Clearly wanted to have eyes on him throughout Summer League, bring him to camp. Someone who's 6'9", 245, and you talk about a defensive presence. Like, this dude is talking, he's loud, and he's directing the defense. In the final game, he had 3 block shots, and he's active. He can move laterally really well as well. He's not going to shoot threes by any means, but I think in that Mark Few, that Gonzaga offense, he can see things. He's a good passing big man out of there, but it's just kind of like Charles Bassey, as we mentioned too, right? Just that big body that's going to be able to give you some easy offense, going to be able to snatch some rebounds, and he's going to just kind of give you some ferocity down low that this team can use, especially with we know the ages in how injury prone these centers are right now. So I like Graham Ike. He again, I just love the presence that he has down low.
Yeah, look at Ike, and also, you mentioned Lachlan Olbrich. He's a skilled guy. He's a skilled guy.
Yes, he is.
He can pass it really well. He sees the floor really well. To me, it's a three-way race. And I think, you mentioned Olbrich, you mentioned Ike and Bassie. And, again, my thought is that Bassie has been in the NBA. He has NBA experience. And last season, at the last week of the season, he showed up, and you could see his experience. I'm sorry, but when you have Steph raving about you after one or two games,
that helps
because you're setting great screens, you're playing pick and roll, I think that's gives him the edge here. And based on what little I've heard, what I've heard so far about Ike and the Olbrich is that, Bassie's more ready to help this team right now. But those two guys certainly can be in the mix, as the season starts, as the offseason moves forward.
Yeah, Ike is an older prospect. I think he's going to be 24 before the season starts, just like Yaxel. Olbrich is interesting. I mean, he's 22 years old. He's going to be 23, I think, in December. But he's someone who had pro experience 2 years in the NBL from Australia. He played 1 year in college when he was the Big West Freshman of the Year at Riverside, then goes back to play pro in the NBL. Then he was the number 55 overall pick last year by the Bulls. Had put up some big numbers in the G League, played a little bit with in the NBA as well too. So definitely guys to keep our eyes on outside of just Yaxel Lendeborg as the summer league continues. And we need some basketball. We need some real basketball to talk about instead of just the wait and see game right now, Monte. So I'm happy that we're getting some real basketball, and I'm happy that you're going to be getting some good interviews here in Tahoe as well too. That's right.
Looking forward to it, man. Looking forward to it. Yeah, I think the worst right now, they need to fill in the margins, as they call it, and summer league will help with that. And they will be, whether it's guys that on their team or guys that fall through the cracks from other teams. So I think there's reason to be somewhat optimistic that they can find NBA players in these next week or two.
Yeah, I agree. The wait continues, but still plenty to watch as far as summer league goes. This was Dubstock. I'm Dalton. He's Monte. And remember to visit Mancini Sleep World. Save up to $1,200 on cooling mattresses at the Mancini Sleep World 4th of July sales. Save up to $1,200 with Beauty Sleep Queen mattresses starting at $299. We'll be talking to you guys soon. Thanks for listening.